Alright kids, buckle up, because it's time to talk about the Kawasaki ZX4RR, aka the tiny, screamy piss missile that Kawasaki made that nobody asked for, but everyone kind of secretly wanted. Oh look, Kawasaki went and did the thing. They brought back a high-revving inline-4 400cc sport bike, because apparently someone at HQ is nostalgic for the 90s and wants to remind the world what riding a motorcycle was like before emission laws. And to be honest, dude, I kind of get it. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? An inline-4 400cc sport bike, didn't we leave those in the 90s with frosted tips, dial-up internet, and jorts? Well, you'd be right, but Kawasaki has commitment issues. So yes, on one hand, it does redline to 16,000 RPM. It also has a quick shifter, fancy electronics, traction control, and just enough horsepower to make you feel like you can go fast. On the other hand, it's a 400 that costs somewhere around the same as a used 600. That's like selling you a fun-size Kit Kat at king-size Kit Kat prices. Thanks, Obama. But truly, for the same price as this motorcycle, you could get a used ZX6R. But then you wouldn't be able to brag to all your moto bros about having the most over-engineered motorcycle since the RC213 VS. Here's the thing. Kawasaki knew what they were doing when they built this motorcycle. They built it for the rider who thinks a red line is a suggestion. For those who want to hear an inline-4 at full fucking tilt. And someone who doesn't mind an MT-07 absolutely dog-walking them in every corner. You don't care because you'll be having more fun. Or so they say. Now, according to internet forums and Reddit posts, the ZX4RR is a modern marvel of engineering genius. However, others claim that it's overpriced and underpowered. Maybe it's a little bit of both, I don't know. But one thing that's for certain to me is that this bike has a lot of expectations to live up to. It's a bike that I've wanted to ride and review for a very long time, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. But we won't know anything for sure until we've hopped on it and ridden it. Now, today's ride was protected by We the People holster. You see, everyday carry is more than just about having a firearm. It's about having confidence, security, and the ability to be ready for anything. And that's why I trust We the People holsters. I need a holster that's comfortable enough for all-day wear, secure enough to stay in place, and built for real-world situations. Whether I'm running errands or on the open roads, my holster moves with me. No shifting, no printing, no second guessing. When I'm on my motorcycle, I don't have to think twice. My holster stays put no matter what speed or terrain. Quick access when I need it, out of the way when I don't. It's durable, it's reliable, and it's made here in the good old USA. My protection is a priority, and so is the gear that I trust. I carry We the People holster. And right now, you can get 25% off of your order using my coupon code DIWD25. They have options for pretty much every gun under the sun with every attachment you can think of. So again, my coupon code DIWD25 gets you 25% off of your order. All right, let's go ride this thing. Alrighty. Guys, if you're wondering why we're starting at my shop instead of at WOW, is because I had to do a review of the exhaust, installing it and whatnot, and hopefully that video will be posted after this, before this, I don't know. Just keep an eye out for it. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Yo, it better just be low because it's on a hill. I had to fill this thing up because Chase on 2 wheels lowered it the fuck up. We'll start off this video with a good little screaming Mimi to about, what are we gonna do? Let's launch it. Well, we'll do launch. First gear. Nobody's behind us. Dude, that's crazy. So, first and foremost, I am headed back to go drop this thing back off at WOW. I have had a little bit of time on it, so I feel like maybe I already have a formed opinion. Usually you guys get to watch me form my opinion, but it didn't work out that way this time. So, first things first, let's talk about the bike. I got it from WOW. WOW's letting me borrow it. Thank you, WOW Motorcycles. We love and appreciate you. We said wow. We said wow, what a great, nobody does it quite like us. No, all Trump jokes aside, we are headed to WOW to go drop this thing back off. I've had it for a little bit, I've had it for most of today. There are a few things that I did notice almost immediately, like first and foremost, riding position. Riding position is, it's fucking perfect, dude. If you're under 6 foot tall, this is going to be a beautiful riding position for you.
right? My knees are bent, but they're not crazy hardcore. You know, it is a race bike, right? They're selling this bike as a race-ready motorcycle. Like, I almost don't consider this a beginner bike because it's designed to be a race bike, right? Like, a smaller class, lower CC race bike is what they say. It really just kind of seems like a starter bike with extra steps right now. It's also incredibly easy to ride, along with having a good riding position. And when I say a good riding position, it's the seat is relatively comfortable. You know, probably like an aftermarket seat, like a Corbin seat or a seat concept seat. I don't know if they make any seats like that for this bike, but if they did, it would go a long way. But at the same time, the factory seat is comfortable. I've been riding it all day, no issues. It's narrow, right? It's a narrow bike, but I hug it really well. This is me coming from the Busa, but I feel comfortable on the bike. It also feels incredibly light, right? Like, not quite as flicky as I thought it might be. You know, I'd put it right up there with like an MT-07, but it feels incredibly light. When you're moving it around, when you're pushing it, when you're sitting at a stoplight or a stop sign, like, I almost don't even notice it when I'm at a stoplight. I'm more like just sitting at a stoplight, right? You know, versus like sitting and holding up a motorcycle. Also, finding neutral is kind of a pain in the ass. Let's see if we get the wave from this dude. What's up, dude? He gave me the wave, man. That guy's what's up, dude. Thank you, bro. The suspension is a little bit on the spongy side, you know, but again, it's a smaller motorcycle. I'm gonna say probably anything over 6 foot, you're gonna need a bigger bike. I think this bike soars for anyone who's like 5'5" to 6 foot. Can flat foot this motorcycle, which is nice. That is so nice, being able to flat foot this bike. And also, it's got a quick shifter. Isn't that nice? So yeah, it does come with a quick shifter. Another thing that is trying to convince you it's a race motorcycle. And it works great. Woohoo! I mean, it's quick, it's easy, it's comfortable, it's not very choppy. The only time it gets choppy is you start using it like the 10 to 12 to 14K RPM range, just around, like if we get up in the, watch. All right, let's say we're cruising around in the 10 to 12K range, and I go to hit that quick shifter, it gives me a little bit of a lurch, right? Of course, you're shifting into a different gear at a higher RPM. It's not gonna be as comfortable as using your clutch, but man, that is a nice addition. This is making me want to return the quick shifter to my life. I want, you know, the CB1000 that I had a quick shifter, and now the Busa doesn't. And I am missing that quick shifter. I am. Because it is just fucking beautiful. But with that quick shifter, finding neutral is kind of like kind of a bitch. Let's try to just, come on. Second gear. First gear, neutral. All right. It just sucks. But that's, you know, I found that to be the case with most quick shifters. Finding neutral, especially on a race bike, it's not nearly as important as like a daily bike, you know? You know what? That's pissing me off. I will say this. I've noticed this off. It's pissing me off about this bike. All right. I'm actually infuriated about this motorcycle. My boots, my riding boots, keep getting caught underneath the riding pegs while I'm sitting at like stoplights and shit like that. So I'm not a huge fan of that. We don't like that. Dude, man, I love that quick shifter. Oh, God. One more, I'm gonna come. Ah! I'm not gonna lie, guys. So, one of the things that really disappointed me about this motorcycle, and I'm gonna just admit this right up front, when Kawasaki said that they were gonna be doing more lower displacement, high revving inline bikes, I really was expecting like another ZX4RR. America didn't get it. The US didn't get it. The tariffs, crazy tariffs, I don't know why, but we didn't get the ZX4RR, which is an inline 4 250cc sport bike, and it revs to like 20 some odd thousand RPM. This bike sounds awesome. That bike sounds insane. So I was kind of, when they announced that this motorcycle was coming out, I was really looking forward to that 20K, 22K redline. We didn't get that, obviously. We got the 400cc 16K redline, which is great. It's still a great sounding motorcycle, very beautiful, very fun. But man, that's what I wanted. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, here's a clip from Riding with Tom. This is an old video of his.
That is the best sound I've ever heard in my whole life.
But love this video. Also love you too, Tom. Good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well. So that's the energy I thought we were getting with this bike. It's somewhere in the middle, right? It's not quite a 600. It's not quite a 250. It doesn't quite rev to like, it doesn't rev to 20K RPM, but it revs to 16. That's pretty good, dude. And honestly, like, I was kind of concerned about the power, right? A lot of people say the same thing about the power, and I'll double down on it. It doesn't have a whole lot of power, and you know what? That's fine. It's not really supposed to. It's a 400cc sport bike. You know what? I shouldn't say power. It's got decent power. It makes all right power. And there's even a flash that you can do to this bike that really wakes it up power-wise. It's the torque. Because it's such a low displacement inline 4, high revving, all your torque is top end, and there's not much of it, right? This bike doesn't have a whole lot of torque. It's like 27 foot-pounds, something like that. It's not much, dude. And you can really tell that it don't got dick to it down low. See? Ah, yeah. That's full throttle right there. We'll keep it in second gear for a second, let it like really rev out. Just keep it revving high in second gear. So yeah, sure, it's lacking a little bit of power. It could be faster. I really bet with like a tune, like a flash, this thing really does become a pretty decent piss missile. It's not bad now. I don't want to make it seem like speed is the only thing that matters when it comes to sport bikes, because it's not. But it does make up, I would say, about 50% of what a sport bike is going fast. I expected this bike to be closer to a 600 than a 250. And I know that's probably a weird median to ask for, but it is dead ass in the middle. I am not gonna lie. I think this bike is like dead ass in the middle. It's not quite as powerful as like the CBR 500 or whatever Honda's 500cc bike is. It doesn't quite have that low medium range that the Honda has, It doesn't have that full scream effect that most 600cc sport bikes have either, but it's not as pathetic as a 250. Watch how long it takes for the clutch to engage. I guess it doesn't really make a difference to you guys, but I've got two gripes so far about this motorcycle. It's not the power or the speed. That doesn't bother me. I knew exactly what I was getting into with this motorcycle. So the power and speed is not a surprise, and it does not bother me in the least. I think the power and the speed is probably exactly what I expected out of this motorcycle. And I could see how this bike would be really fun on a track. Really just giving it the freaking beans, Giving it everything it's got and still staying under the speed limit too. That's fun. There's not a whole lot of bikes that you can genuinely wring the shit out of and still be within the legal contents of the law, speed-wise, So I'm not surprised or bummed about the power at all. I think it's about what I expected. The two things that are really bothering me is, one is the build quality. It feels like a cheap bike, right? Like the clutch and brake levers, they feel cheap. There's not a whole lot of pull to the clutch, which to me tells me that the springs are cheap in the clutch, or they're not very intense, and you don't need them. They don't need to be heavy. Sure, it's a race bike, but it's also a 400. It doesn't need a crazy heavy clutch. And it can still boogie, dude. It can still get down and boogie. We say, wow, it goes fast. At least you feel like you're going fast. You really do. Like, between, like, the quick shifting, like, the banging gears and staying high in this RPM range and the fucking sound, it feels like you're going fast. But it doesn't feel like it's made out of good stuff. The clutch and brake levers, like I said, they feel cheap. The triple trees feel kind of cheap, the plastics, they feel Kawasaki-ish, they feel good. The controls, they feel good, like the handlebars, the grips, all this stuff feels good, but it's a 400cc sport bike. The shifter is a little bit spongy. The rear brakes are a little bit spongy. And I don't mean from the brake or the shifter itself. I just mean the material, the cast aluminum that they use to make it. That is the spongy. So the give itself is not in the gearing mechanism. The give itself is in the material that they've used, which leads to a cheap feel. Right? It kind of reminds me of, you remember the highest song that I gave away? It's a cheap motorcycle. It's meant to be cheap. But that bike felt cheap too. And the mirrors, they don't feel very solid. And that by itself probably wouldn't bother me, right? Like a cheap bike that feels cheap, totally okay. This bike, however, is not cheap. This bike is more expensive than I think it should be. We'll just do a little bit of boogieing. Oh, it sounds so good. And you know, I really don't mind a cheap bike that feels cheap. This, on the other hand, is pushing 10 grand. It's like fucking more expensive than I think it needs to be for the quality and performance that you get. For me, it seems like the money and whatnot is all tied up in the unnecessary parts of the bike, like the electronics. You know, I know that they probably don't have a whole lot of money invested in this motor. Kawasaki's really good about banging a lot of performance out of a small motor and it being reasonably powerful and reliable. Alright, whatever. That was illegal. No, I should have just hit that dude. I should have just T-boned him. That'd have showed him. I should have just like ran my body full fucking the side of his car. But again, a lot of the money, if I had to guess, is tied up in all of this, the electronic shit that it's got. And don't get me wrong, there are electronics that are important to bikes. And that's the thing, man, I don't really care about a cheap motorcycle if it's priced accordingly, but I feel like this bike is more expensive than what it needs to be. Now, not from WOW's perspective. WOW's got this bike for sale at a very reasonable price. I'm talking about from the factory. Kawasaki offers this bike in a couple of different versions of it, with and without ABS, all that other stuff. And I gotta say, man, like ABS, I do agree that most new bikes, if not all new bikes, should come with ABS. ABS is a fantastic option for both experienced and new riders. But because Kawasaki is marketing this as a race motorcycle, it comes lame with a bunch of features that most people probably don't. You don't need a lap timer. You don't need all this other stuff. You don't need any of that for regular everyday riding. So to me, it feels like Kawasaki made like a $6,000 motorcycle and then gave it like a $4,000 to $5,000 bump in price because of the electronics that they wanted to package with it. All right, then. Fix that. And that's another thing, man, like, I had to use everything this bike had to boogie like that, you know? So that's another thing you need to keep in mind when it comes to what type of motorcycle you're buying. If you're using it for, like, daily commuter in the city, this bike is going to be easy. It's going to stay within its RPM range to get good gas mileage. You're not going to need to haul ass everywhere you go. You know, and you still have all that power. You still have all that rev range for riding aggressively when you want to do that, right? Can you guys see that Camaro that's loaded down over there with all those tires on it? What the fuck is that guy doing? Hopefully my new camera can pick that up. That is goofy looking, dude. Launching from the light, dude, it's just casual. It's really easy to ride. It's very comfortable. It's got more than enough power for daily commuting stuff. I mean, sure, there's been like 1 or 2 times when I'm merging or being a dickhead where I feel like, man, I could really use just like maybe like 5 to 10 more foot-pounds of torque and I'd be really happy with that. Like, sure. But honestly, for the price, I could not see myself buying this over a used 600cc sport bike. I just couldn't. Now, for like $5 grand, all day long, easy pick. But even then, you can still get like an early 2000s like CBR 600, like an F4i for way less than that. Or like, like a power cruiser, like a Magna. You can get a Magna for less than that. You can get so many bikes that you can get for under what this bike cost that I feel like would provide a better result than what this bike is able to give. For the price, The price per performance, I think that's where I'm hooked. Oh, we got the cops behind us. Very nice. I just think for the price, it would be hard pressed for you to convince me that this is better than any other option that's available for what these things cost. Just want to get out of the street. Jet skis. I think dollar for dollar, you're just better off buying a 600, personally. Now, I don't want to talk shit to anybody else who bought a ZX4RR over like a 600 or whatever, because at the end of the day, you've got your own preferences, and it's a great bike. It's a great motorcycle. It'll probably last you for a very long time. And one of the most important things to remember is that not everybody lives in America, right? I know this is hard for us American guys to think about, but we're not the only ones out there, man. In America, at 16 years old, you can get your learner's permit and go hop on a Hayabusa. There's nothing stopping you. There is no learner preliminary period for lower bikes, but that is not the same in other countries. There are a lot of other countries that make you start out on 49 cc's or 125 cc's or 250s. You have to work your way up as you get older. Not everybody has it like America does. You know, if I wanted to, at 16 years old, H2, wide open throttle, nothing stopping me other than the law and what's between my legs. Yo, is this guy gonna not let him over? I'm gonna let him over. I'm feeling froggy. Yeah, come on. Sounds good, man. It sounds good. I gotta say, it is one of the better sounding modern sport bikes, though. That is 100% the truth. And you know, man, honestly, a lot of the negatives don't even bother me about this motorcycle because I knew them. You know, I was able to see the price point before I rode it. I knew how much power it made before I rode it. I knew what it weighed. I knew all the information, the specs before I rode it, which is why I wasn't surprised by any of it. You're not getting into a 600cc sport bike. You're not getting close to a 600cc sport bike. And again, I'm not surprised by any of this stuff. I knew all of the downsides before I even got on the motorcycle, because I did my research. Chase just posted a sweet video about this motorcycle, and he did an excellent in-depth review. I think you guys should go check that out too. And look, we're right there at wow. Good timing, everybody. This is gonna be tricky. We're gonna cut across 4 lanes and about 20 yards, so we're gonna work it. Going over here. Just like that, we're back. We got James. Woo! It's bad. It's a bad girl, dude. It's bad girl, dog. ZX4RR. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you, man. Just doing a review on this little thing. You know what? It is every bit of what I expected. According to all the research that I did, like, everything about it is like exactly what I thought it was gonna be. So, you know, if it was cheaper, like from the factory, like they're expensive from the factory. You guys got it at a really good price. Like anybody who bought it at this price that'd be swell. But like from the factory new, it's just not worth it, I don't think. The quick shift is nice. Dude, I want that on the Busa. This thing still has the baffle and the exhaust. I took it out to do a review because Kaufman sent me another one too. So I pulled the exhaust out. Bro, it is loud. It is ear splitting. But it's fun, man. It's fun, dude. Yeah. The street's been looking for me. I don't know if that's a compliment. I don't think that's good. Oh, where are we going? Okay. Take me to my truck real quick.
Where's your truck at?
It's right back there. I got a trailer. You see I bought a trailer today. Yeah, thank you, man. It's hard. Anything, I guess. For my car. What?
Get that.
Oh.
No, give me that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I don't have to give you. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, this is like a car.
Yeah, it's electric. There we go.
Because you guys started selling golf carts now.
Yes, sir.
If anybody wants a golf cart, they can come down to WOW and get a nice. God dang, dude.
Yes, sir.
That's what I need. That's what I got my trailer for. Yeah, I'm gonna get me one of them. Dude, this thing is nice. It's got speakers in it. Marine grade audio. Damn, dude. Dude, this is cool, man. Yeet.
Oh, I got it in turtle mode.
You got it in turtle mode?
Yeah, it's in turtle mode. I ain't put it in rabbit mode, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want it in the truck
I appreciate you, man. Valet parking. That's the type of VIP service we get at Wow Motorcycles when we come and see James to buy a motorcycle. Thank you, buddy. Well, thank you again, Wow, for such an awesome review. I appreciate it. What a freaking pleasure this place always is. We love it. We'll see you in the next one.